Okay. Hey, y'all. Okay, how are ya? Get my phone to sit right.
Hmm?
I'm trying to get my phone to sit right. This thing's wearing out. There you go. Hey, Vic, Kevin K. Well, happy Wednesday to y'all. What's going on in the world? That's outside of all kinds of all kinds of problems with hurricanes and fires and floods, uh,
Heat
heat. Yeah.
everywhere, hot. I was looking at, last night I was looking at Texas, the southern part of Texas. And after California got hit with Hurricane whatever, Hillary,
Hillary.
and causing all that problem, um, now there's some kind of a tropical storm or something, or maybe another hurricane hitting Padre Island, which is not too far from Rockport.
Uh,
So I don't know what's going on there. I haven't kept up to date, but last night they had all kinds of warnings out there. So,
yeah.
and there's very possibilities there could be another one coming through again in a few days. That same area.
Yeah. Wow.
They say it's because the ocean waters are heated up, that the storms are going to be more and bigger and more damaging. I don't know if that's true everywhere, but I think here in Florida it's true.
Yeah. September's kind of scary when it comes to. I mean, we get hurricanes from June until November, but September's the kind of the one that you're very leery of.
Craig says, hello from Evansville, Indiana.
Well, hello, Craig. How are you?
Says hot, hot, hot here. Last time I was in Evansville as a trucker, I was down there for a couple of reasons. Used to go to, I can't think of the name of the factory that made all the appliances. Whirlpool. I delivered steel and stuff into the Whirlpool factory, and then I also went to, I want to say, RC Cola Bottling Company there. And I took bottles down there from Brockway Glass so people could have their RC pop.
Do they still make RC Cola?
Hmm?
Do they still make RC Cola?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. Okay, Miss Jerry Bell is here. Thank you, Jerry.
Gringo Loco says that Wednesday already. I know, Jerry, the older you get, the faster it goes.
Yeah. And Craig Bishop says Whirlpool's closed down now.
Yeah, they moved.
Yeah.
I want to say they moved up to like Kansas somewhere or something like that. They moved the whole operation out there and merged them together. And I can only say, and I'm not, pointing fingers at any given thing, but ever since they moved, I think Whirlpool products went to hell in a handbasket. That's just my opinion, man. We have not had anything with Whirlpool name on it that lasted very long at all.
That's true. We've had a real problem with the Whirlpool products, and I never had before. I mean, I had a 30-year-old washing machine that was just fine.
Or a refrigerator.
Well, Maytag also. I mean, and Maytag was the name back in the day, and they always talk about the Maytag repairman was the loneliest man in the country. Not so anymore. That's just some of this stuff, and you can tell the stuff they're made out of. Like my washer is so flimsy. I mean, the metal on it is so flimsy. I don't know what they were thinking, but yeah, it's different.
Yeah, when it comes to poor manufacturing and cheap products and everything, Whirlpool's not alone.
Yeah, no.
There's a lot of them that they're not near the products they used to be. Nothing's the products it used to be. Some of them are better today than it was then. I've always said, I think the cars today are 100 times better than they was in the 50s, 60s, and 70s.
Yeah.
One is you don't see rust issue much anymore. Back in the day, you could buy a brand new car and within the first year, quarter panels were rusted out.
Yeah.
You could almost put your clock that 50,000 miles, you're going to have to replace the starter. I mean, that's just the way it was. And today, I think cars are much better. But we're not buying brand new cars for $3,500 either. So they ought to be better, right?
Yeah. They got all that computer generated stuff in there that makes him a little bit crazy.
Drives me nuts.
Yeah, but they run. So, Brickyard Rickett says hello from Lake Winoka, hotter than Skip on a rant.
Where's that at? Lake
Yeah,
Winoka?
where is Lake Winoka? I never heard of
That
that.
could be anywhere from Wisconsin.
Well, and I know he's in Indiana, I believe,
Oh.
but I don't recognize that name.
Carol, how you doing? I see where she says hi.
Yeah.
William Rizzo's here. I guess Bill B's on here. It says, hello, Bill B. I guess Bill B's on here. I haven't been paying attention.
Yeah. Yeah, cheap means you have to replace more often, equal more profit. That's right. And I say it's just, like I said, I had a 30-year-old washer, and I mean, it was used when I bought it. And then I said, the thing just kept on running. So I said, I've already had this one. This one was brand new, and I've already had it fixed once. And, I said, all my Whirlpool appliances in the kitchen has been replaced.
They were worked on 2 and 3 times.
Yeah,
the
they were
Whirlpool
worked on.
microwave went out within the first year. Couldn't be fixed. I'm sorry, but the Whirlpool stuff we had here in the villages, that's what I'm just going to talk about, was junk.
Yeah, and then now you don't have them fixed. You just throw them away and get new. It costs as much to have them fixed.
You shouldn't have to throw away something that's less than a year old.
Well,
that's what I'm saying.
No.
Look at the DVD player I put in the camper. We used it twice. Within 3 months of me buying that thing, it quit working for no reason at all. You say, well, you throw it away. Well, I did, and I got another new one, but 3 months? Come on.
Yeah. Oh, Brickyard says Lake Winoka is 1 hour east of Cincinnati. So, okay. Well, I said, don't know why I've never heard of it. Should have in that area. Okay. Hello from St. Louis. First time joining live. Well, hello, St. Louis. They're having a heat wave this week. 96 today, 100 the next 2 days.
St. Louis is a hot area. People don't realize that. Even in the wintertime, St. Louis is a warm spot.
Yeah. But it's one of the reasons why we're still here. We'd like to be up there right now, but we're kind of waiting until the weather levels off a little bit. It's
and the price of gas.
Yeah.
I got an email yesterday from a friend of mine in the area that he lives at in Indiana, and he showed me a price at the gas pump, $3.99.9 for just regular gas.
Yeah, but it is going down.
It ain't going down. It's $3.99.9. How's that going down?
Where they're at, yes, but I mean it's going down here, so eventually it'll catch up.
That's what you put on a hamburger.
Craig Vincent says, so online there's only one new car under 20,000 for sale now. All of them are about 20,000. Yeah, I read that same article, Craig, and it kind of blows your mind to think about that. And but people went to a lot of used cars. That's why the price of used cars has went up so high. For one, because a new car, the prices are ridiculous anymore.
Well, during COVID, you couldn't hardly find a new car anywhere.
Right. And that's what I said. The used cars went up ridiculous price, and then you kind of wonder, are they worth that? If I have to pay this for a used, why not wait and get a new?
That's why we got a new car. We were lucky though, because we were on the verge of buying a used car and paying way too much for it. And our neighbor over here from Canada, of all places, come over with paperwork and said, hey, they got these cars coming. They got to tell you about them. Well, we didn't know anything about it.
Yeah.
So we took the paperwork in there, and the guy we always do business with, he didn't know anything about it. But he did get on the computer and typed it in there, and he told us, he said, yeah, you're right. They are coming.
Yeah.
He didn't know. So he says, do you want one? You got to put a deposit on it before it gets here. And so, yeah, I think it was a $500 deposit, I think that's what it was. And but we weren't obligated. If we didn't want to buy any of them, we got the $500 back. But the deposit guaranteed we got our choice of what was coming in.
Yeah.
And that's what that was about. And so I didn't really have a choice. Sue went down and picked one out. And then she came home and told me, we got to go down tomorrow at 3 p.m. to sign the papers on this car. And when we went down to sign the papers, that's the first time I saw the car.
Yeah, and it's bright red. I had a choice between red and white. And we've had a white one for 12 years, so I thought, give me the red. Why not?
Do you know why you want to have a white car in a hot state like Florida? Is because it reflects the heat. White is the best color to keep your car from getting very, very hot inside. It'll still get hot, but not like. Then the worst color is black. You leave it set outside in this heat, and black, a dark color, the paint will start to check. That's what they call it, paint checking. And
Mhm.
so you stay away from the dark. Red is kind of in that, but we don't worry about it so much because we're really big on keeping the car in the garage at all times. I very seldom ever park it out in the driveway.
Right, right. Is that why there's so many white trucks in Texas?
Probably because they're cheap. That'd be my guess. White's probably
Well, I
the
don't
cheap
know. These
paint.
trucks I was looking at, they
If it's a
weren't cheap
utility
trucks.
vehicle, they're looking at dollars and cents. What's the cheapest truck? Just like UPS, they put bids out. We're going to buy, I don't know, $10 million worth of trucks in the Indiana area, and they put it up for bids. That's why they don't have a regular truck. International bid on them, Freightliner bids, they all bid. And then it gets down to the nitty gritty. Well, what are we getting for that? Well, you get this and everything else. So then UPS comes back and says, well, how much would each truck be if we took that radio out? We don't want any cigarette lighter plugs in the truck either. And they do that. And they get it down to where it's at. And then the next thing they do is once the new trucks are I'm just rambling here, letting you guys know something. Next thing they do when a brand new truck rolls in to any UPS terminal and they unload them 8, 10, 12 at a time, they go into the garage to be PDI'd, to be inspected. And then they take a cutter. And on the front of the truck is the logo for that company. A Freightliner has a logo. Mercedes has a logo. They all got logos. They cut them out. If you'll notice any semi truck for any UPS guy, look on the front of the truck and you'll see where a logo has been cut out. Because unless that company wants to pay UPS to advertise for that truck, they cut it out.
Yeah. Well, like I said, most of those that I seen were guys working in the oil fields. And those were big trucks. And I said, a lot of them pulled campers because, they have to go where the job is. But so they had to be pretty good sized trucks. I was just shocked when I seen the price of new trucks. I thought cars were bad. Then I seen the price of new trucks. And I thought, how could people afford that?
I don't know. When you look at RVing, I thought about it. I wouldn't mind having a fifth wheel. And I'd probably buy a good used fifth wheel because there's not that much in there to actually fix when you really think about it.
Yeah.
It's the truck. I'd want to get at least a 3/4 ton. I don't care if it's 4-wheel drive or not, but I don't know if you have a choice. Diesel, absolutely, because of the torque. But you're talking $75,000, $85,000 just for the truck.
Yeah. And then KM says UPS is getting air conditioner in delivery trucks, but probably won't be till 2050. Yeah, they're pretty tight with a penny.
That's okay though. That's what makes UPS the go-to company when you want to invest in stock. People like UPS, their stock very seldom ever loses. I've still got stock from when I retired there. I don't know if I've ever cashed it in. I ought to cash it in because I'm getting to the point where I'm going to be dying, so I could probably use the money more than anything. Maybe I have sold it. UPS gives you so much stock when you work there. I don't know. I have to check on that. Now that I think about it, I have to check on it.
Fly on the Wall says my F-150 pickup needs a motor. I went truck shopping. I decided to replace the motor and keep my old truck. Yeah, it's a big deal. I mean, you don't want to pay for a truck what you pay for a house. And like I said, everything's getting that way anymore. It's just getting ridiculous price. And I know things go up all the time.
Well, what was the sticker on our car? And it's not the fanciest car in the world. It's got a lot of crap. And actually, I think it's got too much crap. I talk to this car going down the road all the time. It drives me nuts. I'm looking for a radio station and I can't find the damn thing. But I think it was like 30-some thousand sticker on it.
Yeah, 31.
And when we bought it, there's no negotiating. That sticker is what the price is.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, at the time we bought this, that was a deal because everybody else had what they call an upcharge.
Yeah, and like I said, the used one we were looking at was almost the same price.
Just a few $100 difference.
Yeah. If it hadn't been for Donald coming over here and telling us, I would have bought the used one.
We were looking at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, think about this. A used car, maybe a year or two old, 20-some thousand miles on it, 22,000 miles on it, and it was like $600 less to buy that than it would have been to buy this brand new car.
Yeah.
That's how bad it was.
Yeah. Oh, and the big deal, the big news today is the big raise in our maintenance fees for the fire department did not materialize. They put it behind them for right now because there was too much concern when they had the meeting was yesterday, and the biggest problem was with businesses. It wasn't just us having a raise in our taxes, but businesses was having to pay by the square foot. And so many of them, especially the mom and pop places, they would have gone out of business. They just couldn't afford those kind of raises per square foot. And so somehow they're going to have to come up with $25 million. I mean, I don't know how, but they're going to.
I got an idea for them. I can tell you how you get half of it real quick, just like that.
Yeah.
Tell the developer, we're not going to give you any more building permits unless you donate $12.5 million to update our fire department. Well, they'll have to update the fire department because of all the building going on around here.
Yeah.
He's putting $1 billion in his pocket. Kick in a little bit, or we don't approve any more of your building permits. How about that?
Well, that might work. Ray Prokowski says we had a 1950 Plymouth. Under the front doors, we had holes. You could see the street. It was really cold in the winter.
Yeah. Cars back then, I mean, they just, especially if you lived in an area where they threw salt down on the highway, which truthfully, I think as the years is going by, and I ain't been up there in a while, for a long while, in the winter, I think they were trying to get away from salt because of environmental problems, kills grass, trees, all that kind of stuff. And they're going to a spray. I noticed the last couple of years that I worked, they were spraying bridges because they freeze first. And I don't know if that was an experiment or what, but they were spraying everywhere. So I'm thinking that maybe they're going to get away from salt, and you're going to start seeing people going out there with a snowplow, and on the back of the snowplow, they'll be spraying the road. Be my guess.
Discern the Bible says, hi, Sue and Skip. What happened to 3 p.m. for Porch Settin? Well, that was kind of a one-time deal.
Yeah. We never said we was going to do that all the time.
Yeah, I wanted to go to a seminar on wine, and it started at noon. So that's why we didn't do Porch Settin last week until 3. But that's not going to be an every week thing. And like I said, we did it once before when we had some trouble with our equipment. But other than
So
that,
with the
it's going to
equipment, I forgot to charge it up.
Yeah.
So that thing that you're right there, that thing was dead, and it took till 3 p.m. to get like 65% charge in it. That's what the equipment problem was. It was me.
Yeah. So 12 is our go-to. That's our regular. Now if we have things along the way that we may have to change the timing, but we try to do it every Wednesday.
At noon.
At noon.
Ish.
Yeah, noon-ish. Depending on how quick Skip moves.
Yeah. You got to remember, it ain't just about me. It's the moderators. They're on here. Everybody you see on there that's in blue has got a wrench after their name. They volunteer to moderate this stuff. And so they have it in their schedule. Noon Wednesday, this is what we do. So if I change it to say 3 o'clock, which we could do that if that's what everybody wants.
Yeah.
But I have to make sure my moderators are available at 3 o'clock. And so if they're not, we're not going to do it.
Oh, okay. Ron 5850 says, I'm here. I made it. What's Skip drinking today?
Oh, I'm running out of this too. I'm going to have, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm getting close to it, but I got me a Yingling Oktoberfest.
Oktoberfest. It's almost time.
I know, it's about time to restock it. I think I got a few Sam Adams Oktoberfest in there.
Yeah.
And then these Yinglings, they taste about the same, really. Sam Adams got a little bit more of a honey flavor to it because they put honey in it. Oktoberfest, I don't think has that honey. I could be wrong about that. It don't have that honey flavor. I can drink both of them. But, yeah, I may have to see about restocking a little bit.
Yeah. Laura Lesby says the dealership in South Carolina are getting crazy addendums. One F-150 Raptor sold for $50,000 over sticker. Over sticker.
Well, Well, there's got to be something to that.
Well, I know they were adding that money on, but I didn't think they'd went that far.
No way. If the truck brand new sells for say 30,000, I'm saying 150 probably sells for at least 30,000. Now they want 80,000. First of all, bank ain't going to loan you that. They're not going to loan you 80,000 on a truck that stickers at 30. So I don't know how they're getting that sold.
I don't know. Discern the Bible says, Sue, your phone looks huge, which my old eyes need. What model is it, please? It's a Samsung S22, or it's a 21. Yeah, it's an S21. But it's also got a OtterBox case on it, which makes it look large. It's not quite that big, but it is a pretty good size screen. It's bigger than my other one. I keep having to buy a bigger purse because my phones keep getting bigger. Jerry says, where's Uncle Phil? Don't know. And I said, he had a busy week this week. I do know that.
Oh, his wife has a medical procedure tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
So he's probably, busy.
Well, I knew they couldn't come to lunch tomorrow, so.
Yeah, they're not coming to the members' lunch tomorrow because of that. And another one for a medical procedure is Bill B. And his wife won't be there either because when I told him what the date was and what time, she's got a kind of a medical procedure. She has to go in for her glasses and has to have her eyes dilated. So he's got to, and it's at 1:00. So he's got to be there to drive her home and all that stuff.
Well, bless her heart. We'll miss ya.
So I just say throw her in a car and bring her blind when it's all over. We'll lead her to the door.
Brian Madigan says the only reason for an adult beverage on your porch sitting is to hold up your phone. There you go.
Well, I do.
We'll use that.
I do that. I don't know if you can see it or not.
Yeah, he hasn't got one of these on his phone. So.
I do have it propped up there.
That's good. Okay. Let's see.
Bill said he didn't know anything about a new traffic configuration on Lake Sumter Landing. I don't even know anything about it.
Yeah, I've not heard that yet, but I'll keep looking. Like I said, I find a lot of that stuff. I read everything, but I don't read it all at once. So it takes me a while to catch up with all my news. But yeah, the big thing was the fire department thing not getting their money. But I haven't seen anything about refiguring the.
Well, and the other big news is Aldi's buying all the Winn-Dixie stores.
Yeah, Winn-Dixie and Harvey's.
You can't keep up with this stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I've never been to a Harvey's.
I just hate to see Aldi's take over Winn-Dixie because I know what Aldi's is, and that's not going to be for me. I don't work for the store. That's my big complaint. They try to force you to do that, and people will do it because they think they're saving money. Listen, I go back to the days to when gas stations first, Swiftwood in Indiana was the first one to do it. They were owned by Marathon, and they was offering you like a nickel a gallon discount to pump your own gas. Nobody pumped their own gas back then, and people did it to save a nickel. Now look at it. You're going to pay $3 and $4 a gallon for gas, and you're expected to pump your own gas.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And the thing that really ticks me off is you use your credit card, especially when you travel. I want a receipt. I just don't feel good about walking away from a pump and not have a receipt. If a cop pulls me over because somebody said I stole gas, what proof do I have at that point that I did not steal that gas without that receipt? I can say, well, you're going to call the credit card company. What if it's Sunday? And he's not going to sit there all day where you call on, they're going to verify it. I don't want to go in that mess. And the people that own the gas station, after you pump the gas yourself, you do everything yourself, you pay for the gas yourself, and then you hit the receipt button and it's out of paper. That just ticks me off to no end now. I got to walk inside, stand in line behind everybody buying lottery tickets and Snicker bars to get a receipt.
Okay. Oh, Phil is here. Hey, Phil. We'll miss you tomorrow.
Brockway Glass from Brockway, Pennsylvania. Yeah, but the Brockway Glass I hauled out of, Jerry, was in LaPel, Indiana. And then Brockway started selling off some of their factories. I don't know if they're even around anymore. And I think Glass Container bought them back in the day. And my permits and things that I had was for Brockway, so I never really hauled out a Glass Container. And I don't know who's got it today. I think it's still there, but I don't know who's got it.
Yeah. And Tricia says she got her first tax estimate yesterday. Yeah. And like if you look at that on one side of your tax estimate, on the other side is your bond and maintenance fees and that kind of thing. And I like the idea that we get them so early. Uh, it gives you some lead time to have to pay all that for one. And I always pay mine early. You know, if you pay it early, you get a discount. When the regular bill comes, it'll show on there. You know, if you pay it in November, it's this price, and December is this price, January is this price, and I always pay it as soon as that comes out, and that way I get like a 4% discount because I think I pay mine at the end of October. But yeah, does it look different than it does in Massachusetts? It probably does. Yeah.
Kim Sanders says, greetings from Lynchburg, Tennessee. Happy belated birthday. Let me explain that birthday video. I video everything, and then I store it in a card that I've got in there. And sometimes when I'm looking for a video, I want something a little different, I go through that card and I look for stuff. That video at Ski Beach was done in May. That's when my birthday is. It's not this month at all. And I don't know what else I added to that video, because once I do a video and I forget it, it's done. But anyway, there's no need for giving me any belated happy birthdays because it wasn't. That was back in May. Truthfully, normally I'm never even here during my birthday because it's not that I hate it. It's not that I think it's wrong or anything like that. I just don't like the idea.
He gets embarrassed.
I don't like gifts and all that. I don't, because I just don't care for it. I wouldn't mind if somebody came to my house, brought a birthday cake, and we had something to eat or whatever, and had a birthday party amongst friends. That's fine. I just don't want the gifts. I don't want them. And you can say that 100 times. It doesn't. It goes in this person's ear and out that one. If you say, I don't want any gifts, I'm telling you, I don't want them, they'll bring them anyway. They don't hear what you're saying. And just when I had that over there, Sue said, what do you want to do? I said, I just want to take the W&L crew out to dinner. My treat. That's my birthday gift. I'm buying dinner for everybody. That's what I want to do. So we went to Ski Beach because that's a new one that I've never been to. And so we went over there and done that. And even though I said 100 times no gifts, people show up with cards, with, I don't even know, stuff in the cards, gift certificates in the cards and stuff. And that's what I said I did not want. So now that they don't listen to me, the odds are I'm never going to do that again, just to avoid that.
Yeah. Well, I'll have to do something else to make you mad.
I'll leave like I've always done.
Yeah, I know. We usually are traveling on your birthday, so that's what I say. You can't plan anything like that most of the time. So, Bren White says, I generally go out for lunch. Wherever I go, people are concerned about the cost to live here. We are now an upper middle class community. We who have been here since gentler times are barely hanging in. It's tough.
Are you talking about the villages?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's tough because everything has went up, and the way they do the taxes, a couple of years ago they had the 25% raise, and then now this year you're supposed to be getting a discount. Let me tell you, they get the money one way or the other, just like this fire thing. They still got to make up that $25 million. So they didn't get it from the fire maintenance fee. They'll come up with something else. Trust me. They always do.
They'll raise the hotel tax.
Well,
and those of you that don't know, if you rent your house out for a month or two or whatever in the wintertime, you're subject to pay that hotel tax.
Yeah.
And if you don't, Sumter County will come for you. Just letting you know.
Yeah. And let's see.
Worcester. Jerry Bell's making fun because I keep saying Worcester.
Well, I do too.
There's an R in Worcester.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vic, it's at Havana. Let's see.
Cheap means you got to replace more often, more profit. That's true. I understand that, but I got to tell you, I didn't really notice appliances and TVs and all that kind of stuff being so cheap until we started doing business with China. Say what you want. It just seems like since we started buying or hiring our companies going to China and having this stuff built over there, and coming back over here. Is it the products? Is it the trip across the ocean? I don't know, but I just know that most of the stuff is crap. Now that doesn't explain though. How come computers seem to last so long? I know because they're made over there too, right? But they seem like this iPad right here. I think it was probably made over there. But
Yeah.
yet they go on year after year after year after year.
Yeah, the science behind them, like I said, the components themselves last. The science changes so quick that you have to change, from,
Our stove went bad 2 or 3 times, and every time it was because of a circuit board.
Yeah.
He told us that. He kept replacing that circuit board. Inside of that is a circuit board.
right,
All of it probably comes from China.
right.
So I don't understand it.
But no, most of our computers we haven't changed because they didn't work. Most of them we've changed because the science,
system. Yeah,
the
like
system changed.
you go from Windows 7 to go to say to Windows 10, and you find out that half of the stuff that you've been using on your Windows 7, like I don't even know what, like I don't know, Player, Office, or something like that. All of a sudden, Windows 10 now it doesn't work.
Yeah, yeah.
Your camera stuff won't download on it because it's not part of Windows 10. So you have to upgrade everything else to get it to work. Listen, it's all a scam.
To make more money.
It's like when you get a new cell phone. What's the first thing you notice? The plug from the old phone doesn't work on this phone. That's the first thing.
Yeah, and all your accessories has to be changed. I am really loving my my earpieces though, especially walking in the morning instead of having a cord and being tied to the phone. Like I said, those earpieces are wonderful. But I didn't know anything about them, and I went to the phone store and let them program them because I'm not good with technology. I'm really not.
Fly on the wall. Somebody sent me an email or made a comment like 2 days ago on a video. I forget which one. I thought it was fly on the wall. I could be wrong, but if it is you, she was wanting to know what was WNL. I've got that before from people saying, what's WNL? Because I make mention, I guess, once in a while that we don't do WNL anymore. They go, what's WNL? Well, if you're new, then you probably wouldn't know what that is. So what I done is I replied to your comment and I put a link in that reply to a WNL show. And the link I used, we did like, I don't know, 35 shows. The one I did use though was I think the last Wish Kid show we did to raise money for the Children's Wish Foundation.
Yes, yes.
So just go click the link. It's probably about 2 hours long where we were collecting money. You people were donating money in my PayPal account. I was reading it off and all. Anyway, go watch that show and you'll get an idea of what we did on WNL.
Yeah. James Reed says, greetings from the beach in North Carolina. Well, greetings, James. What's the weather like there in North Carolina? I mean, is it
Well, he's
hot?
at the beach.
Well, I know he's at the beach, but I mean, is it hot like it is everywhere else?
I don't know.
I mean, we're supposed to I think we're supposed to reach 95 today, which not bad, but I think over the weekend it's supposed to be in the hundreds. And I could do with less of that.
A guy from St. Louis says it's going to be 100 the next 2 days up there.
Yeah.
That's kind of a warm spot. A lot of people don't know that.
But I mean, the Midwest is really getting hit hard. I mean, Indiana, I could not believe that they were having 97-degree weather. I mean, they get 90s in the summer, yeah. But I mean, this time of year, they should be settling into fall weather. This is the end of August.
The problem with the difference in Indiana is, yeah, we got 90-degree weather, but it's usually like a day or two at 90 degrees, and then the third day it's back down into the 80s. And then it stays that way for a while. Yeah. And then they say, well, it looks like this weekend is going to be a hot one. So it goes back up to the 90s on Saturday and Sunday. But by Monday, rain came in. The high of Monday's only going to be 76.
And we always call that Indian summer. When it would go back up for, a day or two, because you'd think the fall weather was here. And then all at once you'd get a couple warm days. Say, oh, well, we can put our shirts back on.
But the difference here is it gets up into the 90s and 100s. It's been hanging around for a month and a half, and then we don't see any relief in sight for a while.
Yeah.
And like she said, in September, it should start to settle down a little bit because fall's around the corner, and we'll see.
Yeah.
I don't want to
tell
say
my
too much
sister.
because we haven't even had a hurricane this year yet.
Yeah.
And they reportedly last year said this year could be the worst for hurricanes because of the hot weather. And
Yeah.
so far, knock on wood, other than the one they had in Fort Lauderdale, Fort Myers.
Not this year.
No, but that's the last worst one we've had.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're still recovering from that one.
And I tell my sister 9 times out of 10, it's going to be hot up until the day the weather changes, and then it's going to be cold. That'd be my luck.
That is the way the weather works, it seems like, around here. Like, all of a sudden, you'll have a 75-degree day. That's it.
Yeah.
It'll stay there now for the next month or two.
Yeah.
And then when you worry about spring coming around the corner or summer, so I wonder when the summer weather's going to hit. Next day it's 80, stays that way. It just seems like that's the way it is.
Yeah. Sherry Anderson, hello, from the village of Finney. Well, hello, Finney. We love it down there. You know, you guys has really got it made with all those beautiful trees. That just makes a world of difference in this kind of weather.
They got all them walking trails down there.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a big, huge difference I see.
And Emilio J., hello from crazy New York. See you in January. Oh, you're coming down in January. Good move. When everybody else is covered out.
Erie, Pennsylvania, flying a wall says it's 66 degrees up there and raining.
Wow.
See, that's fall. That's the start of fall right there. 66, raining. Then maybe tomorrow will be in the 70s and sunny. You know, it's up and down, up and down, up and down.
Kevin wants to know if you would buy a used car at Phillips on 441. You don't even know where that's at, do you?
I think that's over by Leesburg.
Yeah.
Right?
I think so.
I don't know anything about Phillips, to be honest with you. I mean, so I'm not the guy to recommend you what car dealer to go to, because if you get a bad deal, you're going to yell at me. So I don't have no idea. We do our business. I'm a General Motors kind of guy. So you'll never see me buy a Mercedes or a BMW or anything like that. And so we bought a Chevrolet again, and we bought it to a Chevrolet dealer across the street from Brownwood.
Yeah, George Nahas. And we had the same salesman that we had with the last one that we bought. And like I said, they don't mess you around.
No, you know, I don't like that deal. Here's the deal about going to car dealerships that I get that people don't like, and I get it because I don't like it. Used to be, it was a place where you went and kicked the tires and negotiated the price, and women don't like that. That's why Saturn Corporation was developed by General Motors. That corporation was started for women. That's a fact, because it was that's the price. You want a car? Saturn's $10,000. That's it. Take it or leave it. And it was successful for a long time.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah. Well, then things started to change a little bit, and you know, now it's not that way. But what they do in most dealerships, and our car salesman down here, I think he kind of knows me, my attitude about things, so he don't mess with us that much. You go in, you buy the car, you work your deal, whatever it is, you trade in, you're going to buy the car. Now you sign the papers for the car. You think it's over. Oh no. Now we just started. Now they're going to come in there. He's going to say, Bob wants to come in and talk to you. He's going to tell you about this extended warranty and see if you'd be interested in it. You don't have to do it, but he wants to talk to you. Here comes Bob. How you doing? Smile on his face. Can I get you anything? Would you like to have a cup of coffee, a bottle of water or something? What I want to say is, well, to listen to all this crap, I think I'd like to have a steak dinner. Is what I'd really like to have. You know, but anyway, yeah. He's trying to say extended warranty. Then I don't know if him or some other guy, but anyway, they all have their turn. Extended warranty. Oil changes for the next year will cost you X amount of dollars. We'll do it right here. There's all kinds of stuff they try to sell you on top of the price of the car. And that's the part that I just don't care for.
Yeah. And I said, we kind of made out very well there, because, you know, the first oil change was free. Didn't have to worry about that. We got the $1,000 discount. You know, we had several discounts, so we got the car for a really good price. But
well, we also got free XM for a long time.
Yeah, but I think they do that on all the new cars now.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Like 6 months to a year on all the new cars. Laura Let's Play says, question, are people who rent homes for 1 month or 6 months or even a year able to use the amenities?
Yeah, as long as the homeowner relinquishes his owner's rights, resident rights. We had to do the same thing. It's just common down here. This is no big deal. But if they don't do that, Here's what they try to do. They try to give you a visitor's pass. Well, technically, you can use that visitor's pass, but people do it wrong all the time. Technically, the owner of the vehicle has to accompany that person to one of the amenities, they want to use. Well, the owners don't want to do that. So what we did, we rented our house out. You can go, at that time it was in Spanish Springs, but I'm sure it's in Brownwood, it's in probably any of them. You go in and they have to fill paperwork out. It's very minimal paperwork. And on that paperwork, it wants to know who's going to rent the house, their name, what date are they going to show up, what date are they going to leave. And that's the dates that will be put on their temporary residence pass. At that time, I have to give them Sue's residence card and my residence card, and I hand it to them.
Yeah.
And they put them in the thing, lock them up, and that's it. You're done. And so when them people come down, I don't have to be here anymore. They just go up there to get their resident card. It's all sitting there ready for them. They got the paperwork. They just say, sign here. And then they'll explain to them, now on this date, after this date right here, you cannot use this card anywhere in here. It won't open gates. It won't, nothing. And so, yeah, that's what you have to do legally. Now, a lot of homeowners here are scamming as far as I'm concerned. I'll call it scamming. It's just ridiculous. They want to charge you $50 to have a resident pass. I think that's nuts. You're charging this poor guy $4,000 for the month of January to rent your house, and then you want to nitpick another $50 out of this guy? Are you that cheap?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's very simple, and as soon as you get back, when the people leave, you just go up to the sales office and they give you your card back. So, but like I said, that card can't be used while somebody else is renting your house.
And it's
now,
not easy because when she would come down, when the winter renters were gone, she'd just take the golf cart and go up there, and they just give it to her.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a
now,
big deal.
When you rent through Airbnb or something like that, I don't know how they do that, but
I don't either.
But it should be the same. It should be a same way that you actually relinquish your card to the people you're renting to. But I don't know if those.
I just cannot imagine Airbnb. They rent them out for a day or two at a time. A homeowner doing this every 2 or 3 days, going up there and filling out paperwork for new people coming in, coming in.
So that's why they're trying to get them to do the guest passes.
I'm guessing. Yeah, but even that, you got to do it every day. Their name's got to be on there.
Yeah.
And so I just can't imagine. So I'm saying that's the problem with Airbnb. They're not giving them anything, and they just tell them, well, you can just go use anything you want. And and it's a problem.
Sharon Kane says, amen, Skip. I want my receipts when using debit or credit cards. I keep them for several months. And Mr. Sylvain says, if you have an American Express or Visa, you can download an app to follow your transactions.
That's true. I can do all that.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. This is my point. They've got us to work for every gas station now for free. You're an employee of that gas station now. You have to pump your own gas. You have to wipe your own windshield. You have to do all this stuff. You have to pay for the gas. The person that works in the store in there is racking up candy bars, but you're paying for the gas. Yeah. And then when you get done, the person's one and only job is to keep paper in that machine so we can do the job that they used to do. And they can't even do that. That just ticks me off.
Like I said, Rizzo says, I pump gas at the Sombrero Golf gas station.
The what?
He said, I pump gas at the Sombrero Golf, Gulf, gas station. That was a long time ago.
Well,
I haven't seen many Gulf stations around. But did they have them down in Key West?
I think he's talking about the Gulf of Mexico.
I
don't know.
Well, like I said, I know they had Gulf gas.
They had Gulf gas many, many years ago.
So
maybe that's where he worked. Maybe because I worked at United Oil for a long time, and that gas station is long gone.
Oh, and Joseph Smith said when he doesn't get a receipt, he at the gas pump, he takes a picture of it and then it's saved on his phone. That too.
That's true, but I'm not sure that would be actually good evidence if a cop pulls you over that somebody reported you stealing gas. You say, well, I got a picture of a gas pump here.
Yeah, that's true.
They don't know what gas pump that is. I mean, eventually I think, you get it worked out, but if you have the paper receipt, it's got time, date, and the credit card that you used on that. You can say, nope, there's my receipt right there. He'll
Yeah.
take it. He might take a picture of it and say, sorry to bother you, and let you go.
Well, Marcia, happy birthday. Her birthday is this Saturday.
Who's this?
Marcia.
Marcia?
Yeah, so her birthday is this Saturday. Well, I'm not going to ask you how old you are.
I will.
That's not nice to ask a lady. It isn't.
I can think of a lot more ruder things to ask.
Well, yeah, you could.
I mean, if you put it in a level of rudeness, of all the things you can ask a lady that's really rude, really, right? What, from 1 to 5, what level would you put? Well, how old are you? I don't put that very low or very high on. I put that kind of way down here somewhere.
Yeah, well,
I'm saying ask a lady her weight is more rude.
That's number one.
I wouldn't say no. I wouldn't say number one. But I'm just saying, if you look at their level of rudeness.
Okay.
We waited over 2 years for our allocation. Oh, I'm way behind, ain't I?
Cut the Bee wants to know, did you like Ski Beach and would you go back?
Yeah, I'd go back if she drives.
Yeah, I do. I like Eaton's Beach, which is kind of its sister restaurant, and it's over in Weirsdale. Still not too far from us, and we used to go there a lot with the ladies. But like I said, it's the same menu both places, but they got good food, and the atmosphere is it's beautiful. You know, anywhere you can sit on the water and watch the water while you eat.
Well, you can sit outside. Ski Beach at Eaton's Beach. I don't think you can sit outside.
You can. You have to go downstairs.
Yeah. I thought that was covered though, like our country clubs. And
it is. It's covered, but it's open.
But at Ski Beach, they had tables outside.
Yeah.
Directly in the sun.
And they do.
It could be good and bad. With me, it's bad. I can't do that. But
they have them at Eaton's Beach too, but they have a tiki hut down there.
If I had my choice, if you ask me which, they're both nice. I would go back to Ski Beach, no problem. Mm-hmm. But I really prefer Eaton's Beach. There's just something about it. I like it better. Even though Eaton's Beach, from what I saw, is much more crowded because everybody likes it.
Yeah. And they've got a lot of things there too. And I don't think they've got quite the amenities at Ski Beach, but they're getting there a little bit at a time. But that park over there, you know, Ski Beach is right next to Venetian Gardens, which is the park there in Leesburg. Fantastic park. I mean, really, really is a beautiful park. And like I said, they just happen to be right on the same water. But it's a beautiful place. Where Eaton's Beach is, of course, they've got cabins and cottages on one side of them. So not quite the ambiance, but still beautiful.
Wonder what they're going to do about that problem in Hawaii. I thought it was the whole island that burned down. Apparently, it's just a town, major town. Mm-hmm. It just, I mean, I'm just looking at that's United States. Those are American citizens. I'm just wondering what they're going to do about it because I don't think we've ever. And I'll tell you another one. That fire up in Canada, it just never ending, and it's causing problems in the States. Should Canada be responsible for what damages they're causing down here? Just a thought, because now the state of Washington is on fire from it, and I don't know.
Yeah, the big.
This has been a damnedest year for heat, fires, earthquakes.
That's what I'm saying. You begin to think maybe I should have read my Bible more often because
makes you wonder
what's next, the Great Plague.
Well, our country, and this is just me, don't bring up religious crap. I don't want to hear it. But our country's turning into a Sodom and Gomorrah. We are being permissive about so much crap. That's just disgusting to me. And I'll let it go at that.
Okay. Laura Lesplay says, is there a movie theater in the Villages, or do you have to go to a nearby city? We do have one. We actually had 3, but now only 1 is open. And like I said, the one in Spanish Springs, they're turning into the new health gym facility. And
I think they said there's going to be a little restaurant inside, too.
I think it'd probably be a juice bar or something like that. Oh. And then the one in Brownwood has been closed. We don't know what they're going to do with it yet. But the one in Lake Sumter is still open. and they've got the Lazy Max comedy thing is right out front. Because last time I was there, I had a hard time finding a way to get into the theater part. It's marked, but like I said, they're open, and like I said, with one theater here, it's getting pretty crowded at times. It really is. A lot of people like the one over at the mall in Leesburg. It's a very nice theater. It really, really is. But yeah, we still have one there in Lake Sumter, and it's a good theater.
Gussie Bush says, is a beer colder at 12 or 3 all the time? She was going to get rid of that refrigerator in the kitchen when she updated everything in there. And I said, what are you going to do with it? She said, I'll put it on Craigslist. I'll just sell it. I said, you're not selling that. I'm putting it out in the garage.
Yeah.
And the argument started where she says, well, there's nowhere to put it out there in the garage. I said,
we only had 3 refrigerators.
So I told her, I said, I'm throwing all your crap out. I'm making room for that refrigerator.
We had 3 refrigerators for beer.
Yeah. So I had a small refrigerator out here. Had one in the garage. Where was the third one? You said there was 3. I don't even think I had.
Well, there was a regular fridge in the kitchen.
Well, yeah, but I had those 2 I kept my beer. When I'm sitting out here, the beer's right there. If I'm out in the garage working, I got a refrigerator with beer out there. Not that I'm an alcoholic, but I don't like walking all over the place to get a damn beer.
Right.
So I thought, well, I'm putting it out there. So first thing I done was I emptied out all these small refrigerators and put it all in that refrigerator out there. I made room for it. It's out of the way. And then we sold them little refrigerators to whoever, got rid of them. They both worked perfectly fine. And then we had extra beer in cases. I put all that in there. And then she started buying my Coke in a bottle, and I put all that in there.
So he filled up the refrigerator with no problem.
It's not full. Actually, I got to get caught up on some, get me some beer next time you go to town because I'm starting to dwindle.
Okay. Vic, 1 o'clock. Let's see. Brian Wise says, Japanese cars are better than ours. Why, I don't know. You know, that's what they keep telling me. But I buy Chevy. No problems. So, you know, I know I get Consumer Reports. I kind of like those magazines because they do independent studies so far. That's what they say. But if they're not studying an American car, it's not on the list. So why, you know, I know they're not big on their list. I just don't get it.
I go back to where my dad worked at General Motors in Anderson, and Japanese imports was just starting really to come to America. And the UAW, how they got it done, I don't know, but anyway, they had a rule that any employee that drove a Japanese car to work at an American UAW factory could not park in the parking lot. You had to park it down the road somewhere and walk in.
That's a grab. I mean, really.
and they forced it back then. But if you think about that, UAW had their point why they done that. Here you are 50 years later, and now you see what's happened. UAW has lost their hold. You can argue the point whether unions are good or bad. That ain't the point. But no Japanese factory has a union. No Nissan factory has a union. And the UAW's lost their hold. And that's what they were fighting even way back then.
Brad Moy says, hope there's canned laughter at tonight's debate. Oh, they won't need it.
What'd she say?
Hope there's canned laughter at tonight's debate.
Say it again?
Hopes there's canned laughter at tonight's debate.
There's a debate?
Yes.
I thought Trump wasn't going to do a debate.
Trump isn't. Everybody else is.
But who's the debate, Republican or Democrat?
Republican.
Oh, I want the Democrat. I want to hear Biden mumble stumble.
Right. Okay.
Oh, ouch.
Discern the Bible. My earpieces are they're from Verizon. They match the Samsung phone. What they do, and I said I really do like them. The first set I had, I took them back because they wouldn't stay charged. But this set, no problem. I just really like them, and I listen in the morning. I listen to the Village's radio station in the morning when I'm walking, and I really like them. Usually when I get home, I forget I've got them in. I'm still listening to the radio, and I go on about my day doing stuff with the earphones still in.
I would be listening to Sirius. Is it Sirius?
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's where the old time radio shows are at.
Yeah.
That's what I'd be listening to. I had Sirius on my phone. I was just trying something. We've got Sirius in a car. I was wondering, will that work on my phone, or do I have to pay more money to have Sirius on my phone? Well, it worked on my phone. And then by working on my phone, I have Bluetooth, which means I can send my Sirius radio to a Bluetooth speaker that I recently just bought. And it worked out just fine, thinking all this time that when I take the RV down the road, I can throw the speaker up in the dash, put Sirius on my cell phone, and I can listen to the stuff going down the road.
Like it's bad enough to listen to it most of the time, but
She can always go back in the bedroom and shut the door.
you go 1,000 miles on the road and listen to nothing but classic radio.
That's what I did.
Yeah. Yeah. 72 out here in Long Island. I guess that's jacket weather for you guys. Yes, Ron, it pretty much, like I say, usually 70. Yeah, I put a sweater on at 72, but usually 70, I get a jacket.
Yeah, you'll get acclimated here to where 70's chilly. I mean, we used to laugh at that when we came down and we were younger and we both worked. And we come down here at Thanksgiving because the thing about Thanksgiving was I only had to use 3 vacation days to get that whole week off.
Yeah.
So we would come down for a couple of weeks and rent a house. And we'd go to the square at night and we see all these people walking around with jackets on and long pants. And,
Yes.
It's like 70 degrees out. And me coming from the north in November, I'm sitting up at the square, probably the only one there. I got shorts on and a T-shirt. And I'm looking around thinking, man, these people, what's the matter with these people? It's nice out here.
You can always tell the tourists.
Yeah. Now that we're here, we're the guys sitting up at the square, a 70-degree night with a jacket on.
73 in Rhode Island, Kevin says. Brian Madigan says, we were there a few weeks ago and bike riders and walkers are at 7 a.m., midday, no one. That's right, because it gets too hot.
Too hot.
I mean, I walk in the morning because, before that sun gets hot. And same way with the bike riders, it just gets too hot. Like I said, when that sun's beating down on you, it's not bad if you're in the car. But you get outside and that sun's beating down on you, it really wears you out in a minute. Yeah.
What's this here? Generally go out for lunch. Whenever I go, people are concerned about the cost. Have we already done that?
Yeah.
Oh, never mind.
Brad Bitson said heat index in Minnesota yesterday was about 110. Yeah, you guys are getting slammed with that heat. And like I said, we're used to heat. But like I said, it wears on you after a while, no matter where you're at. But yeah, for Minnesota, for the end of August, for Minnesota to have that kind of heat, that's really unusual. Now,
You tell Vic where? He says, where's lunch tomorrow?
oh, I tell him, yeah,
You said what time, but I never heard you say where.
I said before.
Okay. Brickyard Brickhead.
Oh, crap. Don't know.
I am so far behind. I'm just now getting down where he said greeting from the beach.
Yeah. Leon Shaws, do you know if people are allowed to use the invisible fence to keep their dogs in their yard in the
Yes, you can.
villages? Yeah, we've got several here.
I don't like it. I'll be honest with you. If you do it, I don't think you're being fair to your dog. Seriously, I don't. Your dog can still get ate up and killed.
Yeah, that's
and
the thing.
the poor dog can't even defend itself. But I mean, you do what you want to do.
It can't get out, but other animals can get in.
Yeah, and there are in every neighborhood that I know of, including this one, you have coyotes. They will eat your dog.
Yeah, but you also have alligators. You've got a lot of predators down here. And so, especially if you have a small dog, you have to watch for the big birds.
Oh yeah, the eagles. They will take your dog. I mean, you got an invisible fence. Here's what I would recommend. If you let your dog out, you got the invisible fence, don't let your dog out unless you intend to stand out there or sit under a shade tree with them. You kind of keep an eye on things if you care. Otherwise, I'm telling you, I've seen it happen here. I've seen cats and dogs disappear.
Yeah. Um,
Hello from crazy New York. See you in January. Well, New York itself ain't crazy, but people sometimes from New York City has a real weird attitude. Not just there, they bring that attitude down here, and they just keep getting in trouble. I mean, I just don't get it. I really don't. Common sense tells me you shouldn't be doing some of the things you're doing, and if you get caught at it, don't complain.
yeah. And Jerry, want to know why you need a card if no one checks them at the pools, especially the Rohan pool. Well, Jerry, they
I
do.
get it, Jerry. You're right. You're right. If you're not going to check it, why do you need a card?
They come around on a regular basis. They're not there all the time.
They're never.
But they have certain hours that they check the pool.
I've been here 9 years. They've never checked my card.
How many times have you been to the pool?
Well, when I first got here, I went to 2 and 3 times a week.
Well, I bet
and they never checked my ID. I've seen them walk by me and they go, "How you doing today?" And they just keep on walking.
Oh, no. If I'm there and if I'm not in the water, they check.
And all the time we rented up there north of here, the only time I saw them come in and check cards one time was when a lady, and you know what I'm talking about, she called on somebody at the pool that was drunk and was being obnoxious.
Yeah.
And them guys came right in. I will say that. When she called, they came right in. And in a nice way, they just kind of walked around and they were working their way to the person they really wanted to check out. And they would say, "How you doing? Can I see your card?" And, they would check. And that's the first time anybody ever asked for my card. And by the time they got to the person they really wanted to check, and that's where the problem was.
Right. Brand White says they should just put a plant in the service boxes at gas stations. Yeah, because they don't do anything anymore. Like I said, they're,
Ridiculous.
They stay behind their little glass partitions and take your money. That's about it.
I don't know why, as people, why we've accepted this. And that's the problem. We accept all this. We accept people to be stupid. It's okay. Well, they can't help it. Well, they probably have a lot to do. I don't really care. I don't work for this damn place. If they can't put paper in this machine, I shouldn't have to pay for it.
Okay. Mabine says the employees have nothing to do with you pumping your own gas. That's strictly a corporate management decision. Yeah, it is. But like I said, it's like everything else. They'll start out with little stuff and see if you can take it. And then they go a little farther. And I said, you know what happens. I said, it just gets to where, like self-checkout now.
Yeah.
You just wait. All the stores will be self-checkout.
Yeah, 100%. You won't have.
They do it a little bit at a time.
They're already working on it. I think it was Sam's. It's one of these big stores. Sam's, Bob's, I don't know. One of these big stores now. In order for you to even go in that store and shop, you have to buy a membership. And it's a card or something. So when you walk up to the store, it automatically recognizes you and it opens the door. You go in and there's nobody in there. You go in there and you pick up anything you want and you're going to throw it in the bag and walk out the door. It automatically charges your charge card that's on their system, and there's no checkout, there's no cash receipts. You just walk out the door and go home. So unless you're a member, you can't go in and buy anything. That's going to be the future.
Yeah, but when you do go out, they check, even if it's on your phone, they check and make sure that's the item that's in your cart.
Not at that new store. I just saw a thing on TV about it. The guy said this is going to be the future with the new technology in this store. Nobody is needed.
Well, like I said, it's scary to think that because like I said, the one time I tried to do that.
Or everybody, because of all the looters and the thieves and the drug addicts and all these other people that are everywhere, they're going to make everything mail order. And Walmart's starting it here. And I think Lowe's is doing it, starting it.
Yeah.
What you do is you get online, you buy what you want to buy, and then they'll email you and tell you when you can pick it up. You don't go in the store. You go to a certain area in the parking lot. I don't know how it works. And somebody in that store, once they know you're there, and how that works, I don't know either, they bring your items out to you and put them in the car.
That's how I get your Cokes, because I can't load them.
See, so that they're going to go to that too. So I can see where things are going to change. Yeah. And it's not because of the honest people. It's because of the dishonest people. And once again, we're all being put out to do things that are stupid because we have to make way for the drug addicts and the cons and the thieves and everything else. I say lock them up. Instead of giving Ukraine another $20 billion to buy bombs, take that $20 billion and build more prisons. Put these people away because they're sick in the head.
You are a Republican, aren't you?
I am.
Kevin says he'd be 61. Woohoo! When's your birthday, Kevin? 61. You're just a kid.
I thought it wasn't polite to ask how old.
He told me. Oh. Yeah.
God, how far behind am I?
I don't know. Bren White says Lake Winoka is a nice lake. Why? I'm glad you like it. I said I'm going to have to look it up and see where that's at because I said for some reason I never heard of that.
Lewis D. Our active retirement, I guess I'm saying that right, wants to know if you listen to Villages Radio. Used to years ago. I don't anymore because that's owned by the developer and it's all about selling homes and everything. So I don't listen to it hardly at all anymore. But I think Sue does.
Yeah, I listen to it in the morning when I walk. I listen to it. And I like their advertisements for what's going on for the day. Like I said, that's when and they do advertise home shows and that kind of thing. But mostly they tell you, if there's a pet adoption event going on or if there's a meeting going on, you can hear that on the radio, and I do listen to that. And every week they have John Rohan on.
My buddy.
Okay. David asks, hi, Sue, what is the piece of paper on the door frame behind you? I see it every Wednesday. Oh,
I have no idea.
It's actually on the end of my extension cord. And I said, we've got lights around the Christmas lights around the lanai. And I said, I have to plug them in. And I said, the cord is tucked into the vinyl. And I said, and that's just the safety paper that's on the end of the extension cord. That's all that is. I said, I wanted to turn things around so we had a better view other than the inside of the dark house. But
Phil says, so you don't drink the wine?
Because of the
we only got like 2 bottles left.
He drinks the wine too. But yeah, I hope that tells you what that is. Like, actually, it's we don't do this at night, but at night with the Christmas lights around here, it's really kind of pretty. We used to have a bar out here, and I said when our friend Tom was here, him and Skip would sit out here at the bar with the outside lights on it at night, and it looked kind of cute. Now I don't know why we've never done that. That's why
we don't have a bar anymore, because men don't want to look cute.
Oh, well, you know what I mean. Bram Wyatt.
I'm not sure which one. Who lives up at on top of the world?
Cindy.
I think she's coming to lunch tomorrow, her and her old man.
Oh, okay, great.
I think.
Yeah. Alan Eisen.
I don't think we've ever met him either.
No, I don't think
Maybe
so.
we could work out a time to go up here and do some video of On Top of the World.
Well,
because I'd like to see the changes myself.
Oh, yeah.
You never know, I may be moving there.
It says, I have heard there are homeowners that rent out bedrooms and live together in the home. Are the renters allowed to use the amenities as well as the homeowner?
Listen, it's the same thing as if you have a child. Anybody 19 years of old and older, whether you agree or don't agree, can live here full time. They can rent a home. Technically, they could buy a home. I don't agree with any of that, but I'm just telling you how it is. So if you have a bedroom, what was the question?
Homeowners that rent out bedrooms and live together in the home, are the renters allowed to use the amenities as well as the home?
Yeah, you get them a visitor's pass because they're in your home. You're the resident. You ain't going to give that up. You live there. So you take them, or you do it. You got to do it online, I think, now, right?
Yeah.
So then you just go down to your local regional rec center and pick it up. And of course, you have to have dates. How long are they going to be there? Yeah. And I think a visitor's pass has a time limit. You can't get one for 10 years.
No.
It's only good for so many.
I think it's only 30 days.
30 days.
Yeah.
And if it's going to be longer than that, you got to re-up it for another 30 days or something like that. So, but we've gotten visitor passes for friends of ours that come down here and they stay at our house, and it's just that simple. Just get a visitor's pass.
Yeah.
Kathy Plum is on my friendship level. She'd become a YouTube member. Thank you, Kathy. Appreciate it.
Oh, Kathy, did you ever move down here? I know you said once you was going to move here. I thought she was moving into our neighborhood, actually. But I never did hear from you again.
By the way, if I may say, remember me talking a story here a while back? I didn't give out too much information. I said there's a crazy lady that lives down the road. There's been a lot of complaints, and she does weird stuff at the middle of the night. And I don't know if it's drugs or alcohol or whatever. And I said, I didn't care. As long as it stays down there, she comes here, we got a problem. A big problem, because I'm not going to deal with it. And she has never been here. I'm working on the news now, not for this Friday, but for next Friday. I think she got arrested. She crashed.
Not me.
No, the lady down the road. Because I never met her. But her address in the news is Mary Road, and I think it's that lady. And she wrecked her car in front of Manatee Rec Center. And when they arrested her, she was naked from the waist down. Nuts.
Oh, wow. Tammy says there's a big gator in the preserve next to Evans Prairie Golf Course. Scooter, the GJ, was playing golf there and filmed it. Yeah, honey, if you're in Florida and there's water, you better remember that there might be a gator in it. And I said 9 times out of 10. I've got a picture on my phone now. I was walking the other morning, and there was a baby one, and it had been hit by a car. It was down in front of our post office. And I wasn't sure if it was a gator or if it was a lizard, because it looked kind of funny. And I think somebody told me they thought maybe it was a lizard. And we don't have this kind of lizard this far north.
No.
But this has been an unusually warm summer. So you just don't know if they've migrated this far or not.
She's talking about those, what are they called? The ones that in cold weather, they'll actually fall out of a tree.
Yeah, that's them. And I don't know what they call them now.
I can't remember what they're called either. But basically, the problem with those are they're an invasive species. And there's an all kill in the state of Florida for all invasive species. That includes plants.
Yeah.
And those things, matter of fact, here's a YouTube channel for you called Python Cowboy. He lives in Florida down there. And for a certain amount of money, he'll take you or anybody else out on one of those hunts that he does. He hunts pig. Those are invasive. You kill them all. Don't need a license. You just kill them.
Yeah.
He hunts pythons. That's in the Everglades. And they kill them. He hunts iguanas. That's it. He hunts iguanas. He kills iguanas. As a matter of fact, the state licensed him. He goes on state property, state parks, all that, state golf courses, all that kind of stuff to kill as many of those iguanas as he can. And he also, while he's in there, he kills Muscovy ducks if they're around. He kills some kind of an Egyptian geese if they're around. It's all invasive. And
Wow.
so they're killing them all, or trying to kill them all.
But I was kind of worried about that, since we did have such an unusually warm summer, because it seems like there's a dividing point to where the ones that are used to the hot weather, they kind of stay down there. And we have alligators, but I said some of the species that's down there, they can't live up here because it does get we have some few cold days.
And if she's, Tammy, if you're talking about, we talk about the preserved Evans Prairie Golf Course, if you're talking about the swamp that's out here, it's just right here behind our house here. That's a huge area. I guarantee you there's more than one gator in there.
Yeah. Ron 5850 says, I love my Sirius XM radio. Also, about 18 years ago, it was XM radio.
Yes.
And they offered me lifetime subscription for $500. I was just hesitant, but I took the deal, and I haven't paid for satellite radio since. Wow.
Hang on to it, Ron.
Oh, man,
because
yeah.
I wish I had that deal. I'd have took it because for many years as I can remember, even in a semi-truck. See, we weren't in UPS. You're not allowed to mess with anything in the truck. That's a mechanical thing. If anything breaks, if anything goes bad, if you get caught touching it, they will fire you as a driver. So you can't do anything. So what we did back then, and I don't think they offer them anymore, because I'd consider getting one if I could. In my RV, in order for me to replace the radio in there with the Bluetooth and a newer radio that has all this stuff on it, I don't know what radio would go in there. I don't know who to call to get that put in there. It's just a problem, so I just don't mess with it. But you used to be able to buy a XM receiver, and they came with a lot of different things. One was they came with a little tape deck. Remember that? It would plug into the side of the receiver, and you plugged it into you put it into your cassette player, and it would play XM through your radio. And then they come up with a newer one where it would play on an FM channel. You picked one, and you tune your radio to an FM channel, and you could listen to your XM radio through that FM channel. And if I could get one of those, I think I'd get it for the RV just for travel, because that's all I listen to. I swear to God, I like to listen to talk radio. So it's like Bruce Williams or one of those, and then old time radio, Jack Benny show, and all that kind of stuff. That's what I like to listen to.
Yeah.
It just passes the time of day away, and it never gets boring to me. Gunsmoke is probably one of my favorite because William Conrad was the original Marshall Dillon back in radio days.
Yeah,
it was not James Arness, the guy you saw on TV. And the only reason why William Conrad never got that part, if you read up on it, is they thought the way he looked wasn't presentable on television. He was an overweight guy, and that. But it was really weird because William Conrad ended up with his own detective show called I can't remember the name of it, where he had this big Lincoln Continental. And he was a detective, and he run around and he'd kick that door open and waddle out of this thing. Yeah, so I don't know. I just like listening to it.
Yeah. Hey, see you later, Vic. See you tomorrow. Let's see. Joe Scarpa says, "Happy Wednesday, Sue and Skip. Great to see you live." Well, hi, Joe.
Weird Rizzo says that. Says you are allowed to kill iguanas in Key West.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, and the thing is, and I can relate to it, that the people that live in the southern parts of Florida, where really the iguanas are at, they're not here. They make pets out of them. He lives in their tree, in their backyard, and so they start feeding them who knows what, and then the iguanas show up, and so they make pets out of them, just like the ducks. The Egyptian ducks and the Muscovy ducks, they're all invasive. They're not supposed to be here at all, so they're killing them. So when you go into an area and start killing these ducks because they're invasive, the people start coming out their back door screaming and yelling that you're killing their ducks, and so it's a constant problem. But I kind of understand. It's just like squirrels. If you've got squirrels living in your yard, I guarantee you probably got a squirrel feeder in your yard somewhere. Hummingbirds, you got a hummingbird feeder. We had them in Indiana.
Well, our yard, the neighbors with the pool really hated us because we loved the birds, loved watching the birds, and we had them everywhere.
We were on a migrating route, I think, of the sandhill cranes. Because around September, October, you could go outside and hear this damnedest noise. Yeah. And if you got your eyes focused, you had to look really high in the sky, and you would literally see thousands of these things that kind of look like sand cranes. I think that's what they was. Or maybe whooping cranes, I don't know, but every year they were flying over our house.
Yeah. Well, and we had a koi pond. Every house we've ever lived, we've had a koi pond.
They ate my koi.
But they ate the koi, and the granddaughters, they had a name for each one of their fish. They all had a fish, and they had a name for each one of them. So we had to scramble to replace some of the fish.
So the grandkids wouldn't notice.
Yeah. But we couldn't figure out where they went to. And then we realized that the birds going through had picked them off one at a time. So William Conrad played Cannon. That was the name of that.
Cannon, that's it. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't it funny? He didn't have a TV presence, so he couldn't be Marshall Dillon.
Oh, my goodness.
But he was okay to be a detective.
Bill B says when he worked midnights, he listened to Art Bell on Coast to Coast.
I used to listen to Art Bell all the time.
Oh, yeah.
In a semi-truck coming back 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning, and east of the Rockies, I used to listen to Art Bell. He was ahead of his time, really, in a lot of ways. You may not like what he was talking about or how he done things, but if you look at it as a radio show that you didn't even see the guy, and just kind of think about that, he was kind of ahead of his time in what he did.
Yeah. Mark Sears says, hi, y'all. Mark in Michigan. The dogs and I just come in because it's too hot. 90 degrees. 94 tomorrow, then 75 this weekend.
Where?
In Michigan. Yeah, that's why I figured that, that the weather's going to be that way. It's going to stay hot, and then all at once it's going to be winter. By the time I get there, it'll turn cold. So.
But that's fall. 90 degrees on Friday, 75 on Saturday.
Yeah.
And then you start seeing, when you live up there, you notice it. But if you're don't live there, you probably wouldn't notice it. But when you start looking out across a foresty area, you just start noticing the subtle hints of color change, just here and there, little patterns.
Yeah. And then usually by this time of year, that's starting, but it's stayed too warm. I think it has to be kind of cold and wet for the leaves to start changing.
William Conrad on a horse would draw the PETA crowd in.
Yeah, he's a big guy.
I don't know. Did they have PETA back then?
And Mavine says he was also on Highway Patrol. I don't know about that.
I don't know. He might have been.
Wasn't he the original Ironsides?
I don't know that either. I know that Ironside was the Perry Mason guy.
Yeah,
what was his name? I don't remember his name either, but he was the Perry Mason guy that did Ironsides when Perry Mason went off the air. See, they have to think ahead of time. Perry Mason eventually is going to lose its attraction, and they cancel the show. And then they move on to something else, his was Ironsides. And I always have to think about that, too. When this Porch Settin loses the attraction of you people, what's next? I have no idea.
Yeah. Phil must have sent Jerry some of his wonderful fudge. Because he said he got a buzz opening the box. I know, Jose
WrestleMania done he sent some WrestleMania, and he done a
product review
on his show about the fudge. Yeah, I saw it.
I've not seen it. I've got to go watch that.
He liked it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though I don't think WrestleMania, I'm just saying, I don't think he drinks at all.
No.
He wouldn't drink a beer here, and your fudge had alcohol in it. So I don't know if it's a religious thing or not. So,
yeah.
but he did try
it. Hey, Susan. John Peters.
Jerry Bell says, "Hey Phil, got a buzz opening the box."
It's just potent stuff, I tell you. And then they always say, that the alcohol cooks out. Well, Phil doesn't cook it quite like that. They say it's cooked, but then his nut soaks in it for a while. So by the time he puts the nuts
she said his nuts soak in it for a while.
Yeah, he takes the nuts and soaks it in the booze. So when he puts that in the fudge, it still has a very potent taste. So John Peters says that's invasive species, not evasive. Love Python Cowboy.
I said invasive.
Yeah. He says he loves the Python Cowboy.
Yeah, I watch it. I like to keep up with it. I'm not.
Raymond Burr.
That's it, Raymond Burr. Yeah. That's Ironsides.
Yeah. Joyce, if we didn't have ducks, geese, and iguanas, we would no longer have any wildlife in South Florida. Urban sprawl turned my suburb into a concrete jungle. Very few lakes and no public golf courses anymore. Hey, that's the price we pay for. Yeah, expansion.
Yeah. It does lead you, and I'm part of the problem. I am part of the problem. I bought a house here. I bought 2 houses here. So, but if I didn't buy it, somebody else would have bought it. Yeah. Where is the problem? Truthfully, when you talk about sprawl, is it the commissioners that allow building permits to be handed out? Is it the governor that actually encourages this kind of thing because of tax dollars it brings into the state?
Yeah.
Tourism dollars and all that kind of thing. I don't know where the problem is, but I tell you this for sure. At my old age, I've seen this before in other states. It's never going to go away. You're never going to stop it because it's following the old mighty buck. Everybody's making money from this, and it's never going to stop.
Yeah. Broderick Crawford was the Highway Patrol. That's right.
Who?
Broderick Crawford.
Broderick Crawford wore his hat like that.
I don't know.
And he used to go, 10-4, 10-4, 10-4.
Mark Sears says, Skip, you're so right. I can't help but notice the southern angle of the sun after Labor Day, many trees start to change.
Yeah.
They do, especially in your area. Yeah. And I said, not too much here. Like I said, the ones that are here, like I said, you lose the leaves sometimes. But like, we've got a lot of palm trees, so. Oh yeah, Cliff Craven says that it was when Burr gained so much weight because he was always in the wheelchair.
Broderick Crawford was actually one. I used to be a real horror movie fan back in the day. I loved it. Every Friday night at midnight, Cemetery came on TV, Channel 4,
Oh God,
and
yeah.
then he had all kinds of horror movies, usually a Frankenstein movie or a Dracula movie or something like that. And then there was also horror movies that came to the local theaters, the Paramount Theater, the State Theater where I lived at. And I liked them all. I loved going to movies. And one of my favorite at that time had Broderick Crawford in it, and it was called The Thing, about giant spiders, really, and how they got started and blah, blah, blah. And he was the cop in it.
Yeah.
And to this day, that's one of my favorite. And believe it or not, you can go to YouTube on them old movies like that. You can type in the name of these movies, and a lot of times you'll find them movies and they're not monetized because there's a rule somewhere, I read it somewhere, that any song, any movie that's 40 years old or older and or religious or patriotic cannot be monetized. In other words, I can play America the Beautiful on my YouTube channel and they can't demonetize me because it's against the law. And on them old movies, you can find them. King Kong, the old black and white King Kong. You may have to look a little bit, but you type that in there and you'll find that movie and you can watch the whole movie.
Yeah, love King Kong.
More information that is totally useless.
Yeah. Oh, Diane Smith says you could do a new video skip about tiny house living.
I don't have a tiny house.
Well, you don't yet.
Well, the motorhome, I guess, could be considered that, I suppose. I'll just tell you about tiny house living. It's not really about how small it is. It's about organization and storage. If you got things organized like it should be, and we don't, but you're always changing things. Well, we don't use that, take that out. Put this in. Let's see if we use that. Well, we don't use that, take that out. I mean, we bought a portable ice machine because we thought we would need that. And then we've had this thing for 2 or 3 years now in this house. We've never used it. Never used it. And so now it sits in the kitchen because she said she's going to sell it.
I'm trying to get rid of it. Yeah, nobody wants it, so.
No, well, I'll just keep it because it's a good one. I mean, it's not a cheap one. So anyway, we never use that. She bought a grill. So I think it's in the camper now, an outdoor electric grill. So you can put a table up, plug it in, cook pancakes out there if you want to, whatever. It's been in the camper for 2 years. It's still in the box. We've never used it, which tells me that with the way we travel, the way we do things, the things that maybe some people do that they use, we don't do any of that.
Right.
It's just like this solar stuff. I've got a chance to get some really good, basically free solar stuff, solar batteries. What else is it? DC to DC charger, an inverter, a 2,000 watt inverter, I think, some stuff. I'm going to have to hire somebody to install it if I decide to do it. But then I'm thinking off the top of my head, I've had this RV now for over 3 years. I've never needed this stuff up to this point. Do I really need it?
Will it make the camper more valuable?
If you go to sell it, yeah, somebody, if it's in there and it's all hooked up, somebody would be willing to pay a little more just to have that stuff in there.
Yeah.
But to really make solar batteries really, really good, you really need solar panels to charge them in the sun, so you don't have to run a generator or whatever. But I'd have to run my generator anyway, because I guarantee you, this fat boy, if I'm sitting in some parking lot somewhere and it's 90 degrees outside, I'm starting the generator up to run the air conditioner. It's just that simple.
Yeah, and then my reasoning for the electric grill was I thought because he doesn't want me to cook inside the camper because it gets too hot. But I thought, picnic table, if it's electric, picnic table, plug in.
I'm thinking the car's sitting outside and there's a Perkins pancake and steak right down the road. Let's just go down there and have breakfast.
Yeah, but that it gets pretty expensive doing it that way, but that's okay. I don't complain. I don't want to.
We only take off a month a year, like once a year, so it isn't like it's going to break me up.
Yeah, that's true. Let's see.
Jack Webb and Joe Friday. Yeah, I listened to that too. That was Dragnet.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, the two guys that did Dragnet on radio back in the day are the same two guys that did Dragnet on TV. They carried over. Jack Benny's another one. He had his radio show forever with Rochester, the whole bang. And when the Jack Benny show finally came to TV, when they started TV, he carried over.
Yeah.
I'm old enough to know this stuff.
I know. I'm old enough to know, but I don't.
The one guy that came, he came in from what they call that on Broadway when they did a show on Broadway. That's called something burlesque. Burlesque. I think it's burlesque. Was I can't. What's this guy's name? Milton Berle. Milton Berle came from the burlesque days, and he came straight into TV. That's why he was always called the king of comedy or whatever, because he was like the first guy from the comedy that came into TV. So he kind of got grandfathered in. I never liked the guy. There was just something about that guy that seemed like he was just snotty and mean. I just didn't like the guy. But, you know, he was always around. The guy that's from the old days, from back then, the guys that I really liked, and I don't really know why, but I always liked Dean Martin. Didn't care about his songs or his singing at all. I just liked the way he carried himself, you know. It was a character, I know. He did smoke a lot, but everything I've ever read about Dean Martin is he didn't drink all that much at all. It was always apple juice or something. But the character, people liked the character, so he kept it going. Thus, in the Rat Pack, he was always drunk. And the truth is, they said, even Frank Sinatra said, he was the first one to go to his room and go to bed. While everybody else was wanting to party, he was going to bed.
Yeah. He was Swaven DeBoner.
That's me, Swaven DeBoner.
Marcia says she's been watching Dragnet on YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah. Friday and, what was the other guy's name on the show? Friday and, they said it up here, I thought.
Yeah.
Jack Webb and Joe Friday. Yeah. Peter Falk was Columbo. He was weird too. Had that one eye that kind of wandered around. Kind of weird.
Broderick Crawford was not in the thing.
Yeah, he was.
That was James Arness.
No.
No?
Nope. James Arness was not in the original thing. Broderick Crawford was the cop. He might not have been a main character in there, but he was the police officer that came in, I think, to either investigate or to pick up the girl that they found wandering in the desert. He was the cop.
Yeah. Well, like I said, there was also one called Them.
Maybe that was it. Them.
Yeah, where you could hear the cricket noises.
But I thought it was spiders.
Oh, I don't.
It might have been them. It might have been them. Not the thing. It might have been them. Yeah.
But yeah, and like I said, when we get to listen to these wonderful shows on the radio.
I love it.
I love them too, but you know, 1,000 miles of those get a little old. I mean, you didn't turn to any music the whole way to Texas.
No.
Not once.
Nope. And when I drove to California with Tom, he'd go to bed, and the first thing I did, old time radio. And that's where it stayed.
Oh, my. See. Sammy Terry was not on my bingo card of things you would say today. A Brickyard, you know, I love Sammy Terry, and our kids love Sammy Terry. We went to the mall once, the Mountains Mall, and they had Sammy Terry in person. And so our oldest boy was, I don't know, he was young. I don't know what age he was.
4 or 5, maybe.
Yeah, he was young, but he was one of those that he would sit behind the chair and watch Sammy Terry. He loved it, but he's scared to death of him.
Yeah.
And so we went to the mall to see Sammy Terry. Well, at the time he had broken his leg or something, and he had to sit on stage. He couldn't move around. Well, so he was kind of down to where you couldn't hardly see him. So Skip put the boy on his shoulders so he could actually see him on stage. Well, and when he walked up towards the stage, and Skippy was getting more scared as he got closer to the stage, and he about tore his neck off. It was so funny.
Yeah, the closer we got to him, the more hair he kept pulling out,
Yeah.
screaming and carrying
Yeah,
on.
but he loved it. He loved every minute of it. Yeah, and now they've got, what is the guy that does that now?
Svengali.
Svengali, yeah, yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah, but we used to sit and watch the scary movies at night, and they always come on late at night, right? I think that's probably the reason we're
He always
married.
wanted to stay up late to watch the. We would maybe go to bed at a certain time, but on Friday we allowed him to stay up to watch Cemetery, knowing that as soon as the movie started, give it 5 more minutes and he's out.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, let's see. Vaudeville. That's what you're trying to think of when you said burlesque. Vaudeville. Yes, he was in vaudeville.
Yeah, that's probably what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Jerry Bell says U.S. population has almost doubled in the last 60 years. Yeah, tell me about it.
Yeah.
I can remember driving a truck from Atlanta, Georgia, all the way to Florida at night. Nothing. Just very, very little minimum. All I heard was the humming of the tires.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
you get up to Atlanta, Georgia at 3 o'clock in the morning and there's a traffic jam.
Yes.
You know, I'm just wondering, when you think about it, how many more years are we going to go to where we're going to be like China? If you live in a town like, say, Indianapolis or Chicago or Atlanta, Georgia, nobody's going to be driving cars. You're all going to be riding little motorcycles to work everywhere because that's the only way you can get around.
Yeah. Oh.
That little guy calling up that pole. You can't see him. He's on the other side now.
Oh. Jerry wants to know how's Deb and Skip. They're doing great. I got to see them over the weekend. They come up and stayed at the hotel here, actually, for a couple days, and got to visit with some of their friends and neighbors that are still here. And we had a really, really nice visit. And then the next day, Deb and I went shopping. Imagine that. But we had a good time. Like I said, we don't get together near as much as we'd like to, but that's the way the world works now. Let's see.
David says, Ford GM are at a big disadvantage because they have a huge pensions that they must pay. Hard for them to compete. You know how, Dave? So what? They got pensions. Everybody wants a pension. Just because some foreign company comes in here and they say, well, we're not going to pay a pension, we accept that. It's up to them people that work there. They have a right to unionize, but Toyota has these little special deals because they're a foreign company that they don't have to follow the same rules as everybody else, and that's what makes it at a disadvantage, not the pension. UPS has had a pension for 65 years, and they're still the #1 package delivery guy. So it ain't the pension that breaks any of these companies up.
Oh, yeah, Mystery. You remember Mystery Theater?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Ronnie says, love listening to radio, Mystery Theater. Yeah, I always loved that show.
Amos and Andy was funny. I think, I could be wrong here, because I wasn't in my day, but wasn't Amos and Andy really 2 white guys that pretended to be black guys?
I don't think I've ever heard that.
Maybe not.
Yeah. Let's see.
Cemetery was not on my bingo card of things you would say today.
Yeah.
We don't plan any of this. We follow your lead. You guys start talking about something and we just ramble on about it.
Cliff Claveman says Amos and Andy on radio was a white guy. They were white guys. I did not know that.
That's what I was
thinking.
But
they're on radio, so, how would I know?
Yeah, well, no, as time went on and TV came out, they had public appearances like on Jack Benny Show.
But they were played by black actors?
They did blackface.
Oh, they did
Today, that would never fly. They did blackface, and I'm thinking I can remember Dad saying it was 2 white guys acting like they were black guys. And I don't know, when you think about radio and the way they talked, it's like, I don't get it. What was the point of that on radio?
Yeah.
2 white guys acting like black guys on a radio.
I don't know.
I mean, they made a living of it. That's fine, but I just don't get the point of it.
Let's see. Deanna says she loved James Arness in Mission Impossible, or his brother Peter Graves in Mission
Car
Impossible.
54, where are you? I don't remember the guy, the little short fat guy. I don't remember his name, but the other guy, which I don't remember his name either, but he's the guy that played the Frankenstein guy on the Munsters. He also played, look at the size of that guy.
Oh. Yeah, you guys can't see. We got a it's not a gecko, it's an anole.
I don't know what it is.
Anole, or I don't know how they pronounce it.
That's probably the guy from the front porch. He followed me back here trying to attack me.
Skip's favorite lizard.
Yeah, and he's still out there. He comes out once in a while. I saw him last night. He comes up to the door.
Oh, Bill B says his favorite was Rod Serling in Outer Limits.
Outer Limits.
Oh God,
The Twilight Zone. I like the Twilight Zone too. Outer Limits was good, and there was one gallery, something gallery. I can't remember the name of that either, totally, but I think he was part of that gallery thing. I mean, there was a guy that was a genius in his day, but he smoked a lot. See, back then, nobody knew anything about smoking leading to cancer. Everybody smoked. It was a fashionable thing to do. And he's another one that died of cancer.
Yeah. Night Gallery. Oh,
Night Gallery. Yeah. I watched all of them.
Alfred Hitchcock, yeah. Rod Serling. And Fred Gwynn was Herman Munster. Yes, he was very sweet in that show.
Yeah.
He was the monster. Joe Ross was the other guy from Car 54.
Is that his name?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I watched that show all the time. It was on like one day a week.
Yeah.
I don't know how many seasons they got, but I used to watch it.
Yeah. Elaine Skirst
on black and white TV.
on black and
white TV with coat hangers.
One Step Beyond.
Yeah, you had to turn the rabbit ears to get it to come in halfway decent.
Oh yeah, Tootie and Muldoon. Yes, that was their names. Those are funny. I love those. But yeah, One Step Beyond. I'm trying to remember that one.
So these names sound familiar to me, so I must have listened to them at a time or two. I just can't recall any particular thing.
Yeah.
Mystery Theater is something I used to listen to every night when I went to bed. And we would turn it on Mystery Theater and turn it down low, because radios back then were tube, and they didn't have any timer where they would just go off after half an hour or anything. Mm-hmm. And we would turn it down. And we went to bed about the time that show came on, and the first thing we would hear the
Yes, and the Rifleman with Chuck Connors. Yeah, I used to have the biggest crush on him. And Chuck Connors, and remember Sky King? I love Sky King. I think that's when I first decided I wanted to start flying. Yeah. Ronnie says, when did you guys get your first color TV?
Us? Me and Sue?
I built color TVs.
I'm going to say it would have to be when we worked at RCA, because I remember our first TV had a round picture tube.
Yeah.
Gosh, I don't even remember what year that was. It was right during the transition of RCA was changing from black and white tubes over to color tubes. And I think we had like an RCA discount or something.
Yeah, from the family store.
And we got a TV, but back then you didn't buy like you got now. They were 500-pound TVs. They were heavy.
Yeah, they were heavy.
And they were in a box of some kind. Mm-hmm. There's no remote. It's this,
Yeah.
And I think it was a round picture tube. Yeah.
Yeah.
What year? I don't know.
Yeah, it was probably 71, 72.
Yeah, and let me say that there was no cable back then. It was all antennas and stuff. And so the picture and the color quality wasn't the greatest, but at the time we thought that was the cat's meow, man.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the cat's meow. Yeah, and then for some reason everything was made plastic. So you never, when you went to turn your TV, it only lasted about 2 years and that plastic would break. So I remember turning the TV with a screwdriver, or not a screwdriver, a pair of pliers, and then on the little metal knob and turning the channels.
That's because the plastic knobs broke.
Yeah, that's what it said. It didn't take about 2 years.
And you couldn't get replacements.
Yeah. Yep.
Get the vice grips.
Oh, and
You know who our remote control channel changer was? Hey, Skippy, change that to channel 8. We'd send the kids over there to go change.
Miss Liz says Amos and Andy radio actors were white, but the oh my, I lost it. Where'd it go? The TV show actors were black for Wikipedia. So. Oh, The Thing was about an alien found buried in the ice. The remake was Kurt Russell, was great. That's one of the newer ones.
So it was Them. That's the black and white one I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Them.
And I said, and you hear the crickets in the background real loud.
Well, you say crickets.
Well, I
had
understand
that noise,
it's a cricket
but
noise.
I'm pretty sure it was spiders.
Ants or spiders or something.
I'm not sure. Maybe it was ants. You know, now I think about it, maybe it was ants.
Yeah.
Whatever it was, that was one of my favorite shows back then.
Oh, yeah, and Gringer Locust said the channel San Diego played the national anthem when they signed off at 1 or 2 a.m. Yes, and then they had the, what did they call that logo that they put on there, and that would stay on all night long. Yeah.
Yes, kids. At a certain time, TV signed off.
Ms. Liz says she met Sky King and had lunch with him and some friends in Winter Spring, Florida in the early 1980s.
Really?
Really? Cool. Yeah, I love that show. Like I said, that's what piqued my interest in flying, actually. And like I said, I just never did get over that.
Fred Grimm was the judge in the movie My Cousin Benny. He was. And I got to tell you, that My Cousin Benny, in my opinion, that was one of his best roles. He played that to a T, didn't he?
Yeah.
Mr. Gambini, what are you wearing? I expect you to come to my courtroom dressed in the proper attire.
Yeah. Oh, Rizzo says my grandparents had the first remote control TV. You pressed the button and it would snap. Oh.
Yeah, they had to click. Remember, Dick had the clicker box and click, click, click to change the channels. And I think Dick was the first guy that I knew that got a remote control and you could actually see the knob turn when he did it.
That's why, that's why they call them the clickers. It was ants. Cliff Clavin says it was ants.
It was ants.
Yeah.
The more I think about it, I think that's correct. It was ants.
Yeah, and that was the color bars that come out.
So I was wrong about the name of the movie. I was also wrong about the animal.
Not surprising. What was Sky King's airplane's name? Oh, God. And I should know this, guys. I really should, because I love that show. And I couldn't tell you. I never thought to name my airplane.
No, I didn't watch Sky King. I mean, I knew it was on, but I watched Fury. And on Saturday, they were all on about the same time, one right after the other. So Sky King was on, and I forget what was on after, but I watched Fury. I watched Sergeant Preston of the Yukon.
Oh, yeah.
And there was some other one, Lassie, when June Lockhart was his mother on the farm. I watched that. I watched, gosh, I remember. My Favorite Martian, I think, came on.
That was a cute show. Yeah.
There was some other ones. I don't remember all of them, but I did watch a lot of them.
Yeah.
I didn't watch a lot of TV back then because usually one of my buddies is knocking on the front doors. We go ride bicycles. We were outside kids. And once we went outside, Jenna didn't come home until almost dark. We just stayed out. We rode bikes everywhere. We played baseball in an abandoned field. We just made games up. And that's what we did. And sometimes moms would come out and get us all the time, says, "Get your butt in here. It's time to eat."
Street lights on.
Yeah.
Brickyard Brickhead says, my dad worked at RCA on 10th Street in Indy. But we worked in Marion. And I had an Uncle Jim that worked at the one in Indy. And it's funny because on my Facebook feed, I keep getting these pictures from 1982 from RCA, and I kept looking at that thinking, well, I was there in 1982, and none of these people look familiar. And then it dawned on me I was getting it was coming from Bloomington, the plant they had in Bloomington. No. So, yeah, I didn't know any of those people. Oh, Jerry Bell said, what's a ute?
What?
What's a ute?
A ute.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He kept saying, these two utes over here. And he goes, what's a ute? Oh, I'm sorry. Youths.
Yeah.
It was a good movie. I liked it.
Yeah. J.C. Comer wants to know who's watching the debate tonight.
I'll watch part of it anyway. I probably won't watch all of it. If it's worth watching, I listen to what they say, not who they are. And I also watch for body movement. I'm big on that. By that I mean, I learned this a long time ago, and whether it's true or not true, I don't know, but I do know that the police department, when they're interviewing you about a crime or something, body movements is something that somebody behind a glass up here, a psychiatrist or whoever, is looking at your body movements and your eye movements for whether you're telling the truth. And they analyze that later. They say, see the head bob, see the, they're not being truthful. So if you're talking to somebody, okay, here's an example. And they're like this, looking at you. They are actually engaging with you. But if you're talking to somebody and they cross the left leg to the right and then they're looking over like that, they don't like your ass. It's just that simple. They don't like your ass. They're everything they can do.
Are you trying to tell me something?
I'm just saying. So I watch the debates that when somebody's talking,
Yeah.
is he looking at the camera? Is he actually focused on you? Or is he looking at the guy over here? The camera's over here. He's not, he don't care about you. He's more about getting this guy over here.
Yeah. Well, I probably will because I always like to hear opinions, but there's also a launch tonight at 8:22, and so I'm going to be out here watching for the launch. Yeah, like I said, sometimes we can see them, and they said it's supposed to be pretty nice this evening, not too cloudy, and also so it should be a pretty good launch. I think Falcon 9 is what's launching tonight. I thought there was supposed to be one at 3:49 in the morning this morning, and it might be the same one. Maybe they've delayed it until tonight. But yeah, I wasn't staying up that late to see that one. So, but I'm gonna watch tonight because I want to see if I can see it. Because sometimes we can see it.
Well,
really
you know,
good
Cliff
back here.
Clavin's right. He says debates are a waste of time. They really are. Because these people are going to get up there, they're going to lie, they're going to tell you what they think you want to hear to get you to vote. They say all the right things, right? They all do. Every one of them. They all say the right things until they get in office. And then they go, well, now I can really do what I want. And then they forget what they're saying. Now, there has been a few presidents that's made statements that they're going to do something within the first 100 days of office. There's something about that first 100 days. And they've actually done what they said they were going to do. So I do give them credit.
But we don't do politics or religion.
No, I don't. I don't do, but I have an opinion about how they speak and what they. She needs to trim that tree too. It's starting to look like crap.
Okay. Ms. Liz says the airplane name was Sky King's airplane's name was Songbird.
Got me. I didn't watch that show.
Yeah. It's Sergeant Preston of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police and his dog King.
His Wonder Dog.
Yes,
King.
yes, that was a great show. Oh, and Marcia said she used to love the NBC Peacock intro to all the color shows. Yeah, it's funny when you think about back when they didn't have TV.
Dobie Gillis. There was a show. People don't remember. I watched it all the time. Dobie Gillis. That's where Gilligan, I think, had his actual first main series of shows. After that, his next main series of shows was Gilligan's Island.
Yeah.
I call him Bob Denver.
Yeah.
Bob Cummings. I do remember Bob Cummings. He was on I've Got a Secret with Gary Moore, and he had pop bottle glasses. I don't know how bad his eyes was, but they must have been pretty bad. Yeah. He also had, wait a minute, was that Bob Cummings? No, wait a minute. I could be wrong here. Was that Bob Cummings? No. Bob Cummings was the guy that had a show where he was a photographer. And he had a pretty good build for a guy, really. But he always projected himself being a ladies' man. And the show itself, I never really got on to it or anything. That's who Bob Cummings is.
How about the best cowboy, the Lone Ranger?
Well, in my mind, I won't say the best cowboy, but the show I like to watch a lot was Half Gun Will Travel.
Oh, yeah, I loved him.
Yeah, I liked that he was a hired gunman,
right.
But he was a good guy.
And also, way back was there was a show called Boston Blackie, and and I said it was funny because it reminded me of my stepdad, and I said I used to watch him, and Boston Blackie, he always had the beautiful gray suit and black leather gloves, and he was a detective. But like I said, that's what my stepfather always reminded me of Boston Black, because he had this beautiful gray suit and black leather gloves now. But this was back a ways sometime, but really, really liked that show just because of that, because he did look like Chet.
Agent K says, no Three Stooges? Well, yeah, absolutely. Growing up as a kid, Three Stooges was a staple, but where I'm from, the Three Stooges was on Saturday morning. That was it. And the curator of the show, the so-called guy that run the show, was Harlow Hickenlooper. And so Harlow Hickenlooper, Saturday morning for 1 hour, had the Three Stooges show where he would come on and do a bunch of stupid stuff, and then he would go back to the Three Stooges show, and it went back and forth like that for an hour. And so that's how I watched it.
Yeah. Oh, Adam Stern says, hello from Nashville, Tennessee. My wife and I will build in the villages in the next 12 months. We're on the lot waiting list. Didn't know they had one, but wow.
Well, they got 20,000 acres. What's the wait?
I don't know. If you want a particular lot, maybe you have to wait till it opens up.
If they're on a waiting list, they ain't got no lot.
Yeah. Ronnie says, Skip, I'm still trying to find Ohio on the map.
Find what?
Ohio.
Ohio? Yeah, it's there. Ohio's up there.
Yes, we don't.
And just like Illinois, if you're looking for Illinois, it's right next to Indiana.
We do have somewhat of an accent. Yeah.
Sue, do you have a pilot's license?
I don't. And the reason it's his fault. Yeah. When I was flying, I was pregnant. And every time I would go up, you have to hire a plane, then you have to hire a pilot to train you, that kind of thing. And I did my paperwork, got all my paperwork done, everything. But every time I'd go up, I'd throw up. And so the guy that owned the plane said, you just can't do that no more. So I quit. And I said, after I had the baby, I never went back. But I would have loved to. I mean, that was kind of on my agenda at the time.
Tit for tat. I wanted to be a cop. She wouldn't let me.
Oh, Phil Beard says that it's between Indiana and Pennsylvania. Oh, yeah. Bill B says, on Friday nights, I used to watch The Man from U.N.C.L.E., Gunsmoke, and Mission Impossible. Yes, every one of those. And why can't they make shows like that nowadays? I mean, I don't even watch
Well, they do,
TV.
but it's always a remake, like Mission Impossible movies. How many are there? The last one had the Scientology guy.
Tom Cruise.
Who?
Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise in it.
All of them had Tom Cruise in it.
But I'm just saying, years ago, Mission Impossible had Peter Graves, the original people. And as the time goes on, it's just remakes. It's the same thing. They just remakes.
Well, but I'm just, I don't hardly watch TV at all. I listen to the radio, or I do turn it on and listen to the news because I want to know what's going on around me. But TV shows, are just few and far between. I don't like the gratuitous sex on most of them. Even the daytime shows, they're getting ridiculous. And
Bill B says, I'm sorry that the voice command came out with that rude comment. I did not mean that, Skip. Well, first of all, I didn't see it. Second of all, that tells me you're talking about me behind my back.
Yeah. I said it's.
Ronnie says it's between Indiana and Pennsylvania. I don't know how to pronounce that.
Yeah.
Oh, you already said that.
Yeah.
Look at the size of that thing.
Oh.
That's a male, too.
You ought to see one dropped out of the garage door when I opened it this morning.
Huh.
And I peed down my leg. Marcia says, I found out while watching Jersey Boys, that Joe Pesci was involved with Frankie Valli in the Four Seasons. Well, I did not know that. Have you seen the show going around? And it's a recent film. It's just not film, but a recent show called Jersey Boys. I said there's a bunch. They come around here every once in a while. Has to have a concert here at the Sharon, I think, with the Jersey Boys, and very good, very very personable. They all have great voices. They sound very original, actually.
Susie says, I haven't seen you in Coles lately. Come see me. We need to do lunch.
Oh. Well, you know, if yeah, get a hold of me. We'll do that.
Okay, need to end this. It's 2 hours.
Oh, okay. Yeah, send something to Skip's email so I can get a hold of you. I'd love to do that.
Okie dokie. Thanks, moderators, for coming. Appreciate it. As far as I know, we're not going to change it to 3 o'clock unless everybody says so. And then, in order to do that, I got to get the moderators' permission first to do that. But I'm just going to keep it at noon, like it's been. That's just the way it is. You know, that's it. Other than that, I'll see all you guys, your members and Patreon members and stuff at the members' lunch tomorrow. Don't forget. And we're basically going to say goodbye to Linda because she's leaving Friday.
Yeah, she's going back to California Friday. Not for a long time, but for a while.
Yeah, she'll be out for a few months.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I'm going to go out there or not. She's invited us to come out there and stay if we want to. And there's some things in California I still want to see, but I don't know. It's just the cost of everything nowadays.
Well, and the catastrophe that's going on, I'm not sure I want to. I've always heard, you know, that Florida was going to break off into the ocean or California was. So we kind of got a choice there.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it'll be California. We wouldn't miss it much. It's full of nuts.
Okay.
And Jerry is it Jerry? No, Phil. He likes to soak them nuts. All right.
Yes. We'll see y'all on the other side.
See ya. Thanks for coming.